You are listening to a BeachGlass Media podcast.
Great news! After years of the mainstream media explaining to the masses how sharp, healthy, and mentally fit President Joe Biden is to run the country, the Democrat Party have selected who they want to endorse to be on the 2024 ticket of the President of the United States of America. Yes, they democratically took a vote wait, no they didn't. That's strange. Unfortunately for Joe Biden, or whoever is running the country, had to wake Joe up from his basement to let him know that he's no longer in the presidential race. Funny, because Joe Biden said that it would take an act of God for him to step down from the presidential race. So apparently God and Joe, they met up, they had a secret meeting, no one knew about it. Oh well. What a brave and honorable act is what the media is proclaiming as he passes the torch to his vice president. Unfortunately, Joe had to be reminded that he is still currently the president for a few more months. And upon hearing this news, Joe said, quoting Billy Joe Armstrong, "Wake me up when September ends." But the real good news is, out of the dozens of potential experienced candidates that the Democrat Party could have selected, the Democrats have selected the least popular one. Kamala Harris. Yay. And what a great selection they've made. I mean, not the voters. No, but the people running the show behind the scenes. They have chosen a real marvel, this Kamala. Who is Kamala? What does she stand for? Well, no one really knows because she's been put on the back burner until 5 seconds ago. And she flip-flops on like every issue that she stands for. But at least she stands for something. Yes, she stands for healthy dieting. Yes, it's true. She says she loves salads. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I read that wrong. I meant to say she loves to say word salads. You know, word salads. Like the significance of the passage of time. What is the significance? No one knows. And Kamala says diversity is our greatest strength because obviously it's not the border or the Secret Service agency or the economy or anything else that matters to Americans. But at least we are diverse. Yes, that is the one key to success. Don't hire people with great experience. No, hire people with the most diversity. And that's exactly how the Democrat Party, not the constituents, picked who should run against Donald Trump this presidential election. And her name is Diversity. Her name is Kamala Harris. Good news. If it doesn't work out for Kamala, Disney has a spot for her as a main character in the next Disney remake. My name is Andrew, and this is Faith and Politics with Andrew Reyes. Part 1. In the beginning, God. First off, I want to say welcome. Thank you for joining me on this brand new journey of mine where my plan is to bring you some satire at the beginning of the show. Then I want to break the show into 2 parts. The first part, I want it to be a little bit more on the faith side of things, like Bible, theology, discussion, that kind of stuff, Christianity. In the second part, I want to be I want it to be more about the political news, opinions, current events, things in the political sphere, things that I find interesting. And I just want to navigate on how I can make sense of it all just by expressing my views and opinions. And, if you disagree, that's fine. That's totally okay. I think that's something that's lost in the modern culture, is just being able to express opposing views and ideas, opinions, and just having a little discussion about it. And that's kind of why I want to do this new podcast here. And for the record, I do not claim to be a teacher, a leader, a pastor, a preacher, a theologian, or, that kind of stuff. I'm just merely expressing my views, thoughts, and opinions just from my personal experiences, because we're all together on this highway that we call life. I will, however, I do claim that I am a Christian. What does that mean? Well, in layman's terms, I just mean that I believe in Jesus, that he is the Son of God, came to earth, died on the cross, resurrected. I believe in his teachings, that we should follow him. I believe he is the way, the truth, and the life. All those things that are essential in the Christian doctrines of faith, the essentials. I'll just leave that there. But enough about me. Let's begin this episode. Since this is the first episode of this brand new show, it took me a while to figure out what I wanted the first topic for this episode to be. So I figured, why not start at the beginning? So let's begin at the beginning. So how does the Bible begin? Well, it begins with the story of creation. Genesis is the first book of the Bible. Genesis literally means the beginning. And this book was written by Moses, which is what most scholars tend to believe and address, that he was the author. But yes, Moses, the one that said to Pharaoh, "Let my people go." Moses, the one who parted the Red Sea, leading the Jewish people out of slavery from Egypt. And then you can read all about Moses' experiences in the second book of the Bible, Exodus. But what does it say in the beginning of the Bible? Well, at the very beginning of the Bible, it says the following: "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." So, in the beginning, God. Why do I find this piece so fascinating? I believe it carries a ton of significance. Growing up in public school and learning science, we were taught in school to believe that the beginning of the universe was approximately 13.7 billion years ago, with a big bang that started it all, and that the Earth is about 4.5 billion years old. And I remember thinking to myself, how do we even know that? How did the scientists figure that one out? If science is about testing the claims of things, experimenting and all that, how can we test the age of something that's been here longer than us? It seems to me that this is a big claim that it would at least take a bit of faith to believe in. It would take faith to believe what these scientists are claiming, because I can't test it out myself and prove this claim. Then I thought, if it takes faith to take these scientists at their word, then what says I can't take the biblical claims by faith too? It takes faith to believe in the things we believe. And I will argue that we all deal with faith in one form or another. We have faith that after work, for a work week of working 40 hours, that we will get paid by our employers correctly. We have faith that the people we interact with on the daily won't stab us in the back. We have faith that they're honest people. We have faith that when we drive onto the road that everyone's abiding by the same laws that we are. So in the same way, it is easy to believe that in the beginning, God created with just a little bit of faith. The Big Bang is known in the scientific community as an origin story, but from my experience, everything that has a beginning has a cause. An art piece has an artist. A piece of clothing has a designer, a sculptor. A sculpture has a sculptor. When I was a little bit younger, a friend of mine introduced me to this guy on YouTube. His name is Clift. I'm going to butcher his last name. Knechtle. Last name is Knecthle. And he's basically this guy on college campuses. He speaks with college students. He has this YouTube channel, a series called Give Me an Answer. And I'm just going to play a quick clip of something that he said to a student, which I think it's important for people to hear that, yes, we all have faith, and it takes faith to believe in God, but there are many key pieces of evidence, as this person, Cliff, describes it, that I think is quite fascinating.
I don't believe God exists because he's answered my prayers. Okay? I believe that God exists because the order and the design of the cosmos points to a designer. I believe that God exists because everything that has a beginning has a cause. The universe has a beginning, therefore the universe has to have a cause. I believe that God exists because the anthropic principle, life is balanced on a razor's edge. To try and argue that all this just happened by chance is absurd for me. I believe that God exists because the amount of information in the DNA of a single cell is so densely packed, it demands an intelligent mind. I believe that God exists because it's more reasonable to believe that life comes from life than it is to believe that life comes from non-life. I believe that God exists because I notice that human beings have this innate drive for meaning in life. The only way there can be real meaning in life is if God created us for a purpose. And this innate drive that I notice that we human beings have for meaning is best explained by the fact that we were created for a purpose. I believe that God exists because the evidence of a conscience that ties me into moral absolutes demands a moral lawgiver. I believe that God exists because I experience love. And if there is no God, love is simply a biochemical reaction. I'm sorry, my experience of reality is there's more to love than simply a biochemical reaction. I believe that God exists because I experience free will. And free will shows me that there's more to you and me than just a machine. We're human beings with a free will. That demands there be a God, a personal being, who creates us and gives us this free will. I believe that there's a God because I notice that all human beings, myself included, have a drive for life after death. The only way there can be life after death is if there is some type of God who is able to give us this life after death. So those are 10 pieces of evidence that point to God's existence. That's why I believe God exists, for those 10 reasons.
In other words, what caused the Big Bang? Does it make more sense for nothing to have a cause and then something just come about out of nothing just spontaneously, or does something need a cause to have caused the Big Bang? If it was something that caused the Big Bang, then it has to be something outside of the realms of space and time to have put that thing into motion. And that mind or being that is outside of space and time that put things into motion, it has to be some type of intelligent mind. It has to be a designer. And with a little bit of faith, I believe that designer is God. yes, in Christianity, there are endless debates about how old the earth is. You can find endless debates about that, but that's not what I want to concentrate on. No, I just want to point out that if we can be so easily taught in public school to believe that the world began with a big bang, why not take it a step further and ask, why did the bang, why did the Big Bang happen to begin with? Why did it occur? What caused it? Why are we here on Earth right now? Why all this abundance of life all around us? Is there a point to all of this? Well, I believe that there is a point to all of this, and that we are here for a reason. And if you stick around and keep listening to the show, I'll spill all my thoughts on my viewpoints on all that. And I have faith that we are all here for a reason. But that's enough of that for right now. Right now, let's move on to part 2. Part 2. The assassination attempt. Oh, wow. It's now been like 3 weeks, I think, since the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. And it's just bizarre how the world is treating this event. I mean, the people on the far left of the political aisle, they're sad, you know. Oh, I'm so sad that the shooter missed. And then the people on the right, they're ecstatic that Trump came over on the other side, stronger than ever. It's almost as if he bit the bullet that he got shot at, and then he just spit it right out. And it was just some spectacle of unbelievableness. I mean, yeah, it is crazy just thinking about what happened. I mean, is this the first assassination attempt? Have presidents been assassinated in the past? Yes. This isn't new. And a part of me, I'm really am quite surprised that this didn't happen sooner, because if you listen to the mainstream media, you just hear the hatred towards this guy, that democracy is going to be over if Trump wins, all this stuff. And it's just like, yeah, people are going to get upset, and they're going to take matters into their own hands. But I just can't help but to see that this is insane. It's a wild political landscape that this all has become. And I have to ask myself every time I read the news, what on earth is happening? Nothing makes sense anymore. How does it come down to this? How is it that the leading candidate for the Republican Party gets shot at, and that everyone just wishes him dead? And then what happened after that? This happened all so quickly. The mainstream media touts Biden as being competent, mentally fit, but all of a sudden he steps down from the presidential race, and they prop up Kamala Harris just so suddenly, and she's having this moment of fame, which is just, it's remarkable. It just makes you wonder who's making up all these rules. Why does it feel like this is the worst moment in history? Who are we listening to? Who is trustworthy anymore? Why do we, or I, put so much trust in our elected leaders in the first place? When I grew up believing that politics and government is a necessary evil. Yet here I am constantly think about it. What can be better? What can we do? What's the right stance on things, etc.? But it's simple. We like leaders. We like strong leaders. We like strong leaders that can stand for us because of the power that they wield. It's the idea that they can make the changes necessary to grant us a better life or a better future. But we should always remember that whoever is the president, they can't really do much for you or for me for our given situation. Okay, yeah, they can make some decisions that could benefit us, but you have to keep in mind that only you have the power to make your life better for yourself. Instead of wanting others to fix your mess, get up and see what you can do for yourself first. And then thank yourself for it. Be proud. Be proud of what you can do for yourself. And then after you help yourself, help those around you. And you will see you have more power inside of you than you ever knew. Conclusion. My goal for the conclusions of these shows is just to try to wrap it up nicely with a bow and make it all work together. However, this time I'm having a hard time figuring out how I can connect the part 1 in the beginning, God, little talk, with the part 2 spiel of the assassination attempt. And I can't really figure out how I can make those go hand in hand. So I will end with the best thing I can possibly think of on this Christian podcast, and that is with the gospel. What is the gospel? Well, the gospel is the good news of what, Christians believe. And this is the gospel in a nutshell. The gospel is Jesus died on the cross about 2,000 years ago and then rose from the dead. He did this to take away our sins. And when we believe and receive what Jesus did, then we can spend eternity in heaven. Christians, we believe that, yes, we live in this life on earth, but after we die, that's not the end of it, that there is an afterlife, so to speak. Now, yes, it sounds crazy, but it takes faith to believe in the gospel. It just like it takes faith to believe in the Big Bang Theory putting this whole world into motion, or faith to believe that God's, sent his son Jesus into the world to save the world through him. It only takes a little bit of faith, and you can receive this gift from God, the God who, I believe, set this universe into motion. So thank you for listening to the first episode of this brand new show. I'm excited to see where it will go, where it will take me. I'm excited to see how it could possibly evolve into something different, but for right now I want to keep it in this style, with satire opening, a part 1, a part 2, and then a conclusion. I hope you like this episode. If you do, please like, subscribe, share, give it a 5-star rating. I am working on a part 2 already, so hopefully I get to see you on the next one. Thank you.